Well, to go ahead and get started, Tafa, I know that you were exposed to the senior care industry early on, due to your mother's role as a caregiver. So what was it about that experience that inspired you to start your own company versus, franchising or working with another?
Yeah, well, honestly, really wasn't one experience. It was kind of just a way of life for us. It's my mom being a caregiver, caring for so many seniors over her career. I just remember back as far back as I can think. It was just a normal part of our family life, having seniors in our homes and going and visiting with seniors all the time. But it wasn't until she transitioned out of the caregiving role more into an administrative capacity that she really was able to excel in her career path. She had some upward mobility because of she was able to, of course, work with seniors, and she had the ability to manage staff and connect with staff and whatnot. So after she worked her way up to a department head, it was literally a conversation that we had. One day, as I was home, I just finished up playing football, and she just asked me a question like, what do you want to do? And I said, and honestly, I was very frustrated at the time because I wasn't really quite sure whether football was done for me as a career path.
Right.
But I kind of knew, with injuries piling up, I knew I had to make a transition. And so she said, son, why don't you start a senior care company? And from that one conversation sparked just a lot of questions within me and what I wanted to do with myself in my life. And at the time, I was dating my fiance, and we've been together for many, many years. And I said, it's worth a shot. It's worth a try. If I fail, it's no big deal. But at least I can say that I tried to be an entrepreneur. And I did it, and thankfully, I was wildly successful, and I was able to grow the business and leverage my talents with marketing, and we just grew the business. We never looked back. It's full steam ahead.
Absolutely. And how do you think your experience playing in the NFL and having that sports background helped prepare you for taking on this new entrepreneurial role?
I say this all the time. I always look for student athletes whenever we're looking to recruit talent in our organization, because I just think that there's a certain amount of preparation that has to go into each and every season. You've got to be mentally tough. You got to be physically tough. Your level of commitment is you got to be really committed to your craft, and you're putting in work year in and year out during the off season in order to prepare for a short period of time. And once the season comes and goes, it's like you're right back into training. And so for me, I think that I was mentally tough to deal with adversity. I was physically ready to kind of move a lot of that passion into my work. And I just had so much energy and so much, time on my hands, and I was ready to take on the next big thing. I was able to really transition a lot of those skill sets over into business. And, I never ran a business before. I never started a business before. It was something that I said, you know what, I'll just try it. And I was, I studied business at the University of Pacific, and so I had a little bit of an edge because I participated in the entrepreneurship launch that they launched at the University of Pacific back when I was studying there. But that I just had the tools that I needed to get going, and I think that as student athletes, one thing that I look at is how resourcefulness you've got to be in order to be a student athlete. You've got to be very resourceful.
Yeah.
So a lot of those traits transition and transfer over into business. And so if you're able to juggle a full load, with your travel and performing at a high level, you're able to carry your weight in the classroom setting. You're really prepared to do something like this.
Absolutely. And given that you were studying business, even as a student athlete, was entrepreneurship then something that was always, in the back of your mind, or something that you planned pursuing even as you started your career in the NFL?
Yeah, absolutely. I specifically chose that school, University Pacific, because they were the only university that was launching an entrepreneurship program back in, 95, 96 when I was attending.
Mm-hmm.
And they had brought in some Fortune 500 CEOs to launch this program. And that was really appealing to me. I wanted to learn from those men and women who had a proven track record of success. And so that was really appealing to me. And, just a little bit of background on myself. My father was an entrepreneur, so I had my mother being the caregiver.
Mm-hmm.
That had a tremendous influence on me. And then my father being an entrepreneur, he was kind of making sure he was guiding me down that path to, being in business and in marketing, et cetera. So it was just kind of a natural fit for me.
Absolutely. And what advice then would you give to other athletes who are playing professionally? I think that your position and you had been prepared to take on that entrepreneurship role. Having that preparation and that background isn't necessarily always the case. So what advice would you give to other athletes who are playing professionally in order to ensure that they're set up for success even after they're done with their professional athletics career?
Yeah, my advice to them would just be follow your passion. I mean, if you're passionate about helping people, or, you have this concept that you really believe in, I think that, if you just, follow your passion and do what you think is right, but most importantly, surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are going to help you succeed and help you get to where you need to go. Just set little goals. And as you start setting those goals and you start accomplishing those goals, things get done. And, it's just a matter of getting, for me, what I did when I started my company is I went out and I started my competitive analysis. I started doing some market research, and I armed myself with useful information that I knew that was necessary, that was going to help me launch my business and be successful. So I actually went to my competition and said, hey, I'm considering getting into this business. What are some of the challenges? What are some of the benefits? And I really vetted out this opportunity before I jumped in. So, it's just go in and do some market research, and more than anything, just be passionate about whatever you do. And as you kind of hone your skill sets and you refine things, it should, most businesses fail in the first couple of years, but as you refine your skill sets and as you start experiencing some small successes, you'll over time you'll be able to build on those little successes and have big wins.
Absolutely. And obviously, given all that research that you did and now being able to have built Amada Senior Care, you guys were even recently ranked on the Inc. 5000 list. So what would you say have been some of, the biggest challenges or even lessons learned that you've been able to overcome in order to continue growing and reaching this level of success?
Well, some of the challenges is sometimes when your business is experiencing hyper growth, it can be very challenging to, just make sure the vision is clearly articulated and understood by all. And it can be very challenging to kind of keep things in order. And I'm a big believer in scaling the business, but you have to have hard and fast rules and defined processes and protocols in place. And so one of the things is really just focusing on your people, making sure you have the right employees and the right executive team in your organization to really build and scale the business. And so for us, over the last 5 years, we've been experiencing some tremendous growth in our company. And a lot of that we attribute it to making the right hires, bringing on the right people, and not surrounding yourself with employees or people who are just going to say, yes, that sounds great, boss, or yes, that sounds wonderful. Right. Let's go ahead and do that. Mm-hmm. You want people in the room that are going to challenge your ideas, because at the end of the day, iron sharpens iron. And so when you're able to bring in top talent and essentially what I call it, like, replace yourself in certain areas of your business. If you're able to replace yourself as the marketer, you're able to replace yourself as the controller, the biller, the payroll supervisor, as you're able to bring experienced personnel in to do that job just as good, if not better than you, that's when you start getting some traction. That's when you start scaling your business. So my recommendation and the lesson learned for me is really focus on your people and make sure you have the right people in the right seats, and things should run smoothly, and you should be able to grow the organization.
Absolutely. And as you started gaining that traction and building that momentum, what was it that inspired you to grow Amada Senior Care through franchising over more corporately owned locations?
That's a very interesting question. It was failure. We had tried to expand into a couple of local markets, and we failed miserably, and we lost a lot of money in that effort. And so what we did was we knew that we wanted to grow, but we weren't sure what was the best vehicle to grow the brand. And it was a chance meeting of a business partner that came to the table, and he said, "Hey, you're doing everything wrong." And so we were blown away. My business partner and I, Chad, following him and I, we were blown away. We said, "Well, expound on that." And our new business partner, Jared Turner, when he came in and explained what he was able to do, and he was able to scale his business, we said, well, let's go ahead and try that. And that was kind of the secret to our success, is we brought other we brought business partners to the table that can help us expand the brand much faster than we were able to do on our own. And that's kind of why we've been very successful the last couple of years.
And now that you have over 100 franchise locations across the country, what would you say have been some of the most important takeaways that you've learned as you've welcomed those franchisees into your system?
The most important takeaways, again, it's just like I focus like on our people. If you treat your employees super well, and I know that this is counterintuitive, but if you treat your employees better than you treat your clients will always be taken care of.
Yeah.
So we really try to focus on our employees. We try to treat our employees well. We pay them well. We bring them in. They're like family, and that's kind of our brand. That's our core. And as our employees go out and provide care for others, and it's important to note that each of our offices are independently owned. But as we kind of really push that culture through our system, it really helps to grow the business. And so we just are always going to focus on our employees and treating them well, and in return they treat our clients wonderfully.
Absolutely. And then even on that other side, you having been an entrepreneur and still are, that mindset yourself, what advice would you have for franchisees on making sure that they're picking that right fit for them and the best brand that's going to suit their passions?
Yeah, there are so many different franchise concepts that are out there today. As you know, I would say, just know your core, know what kind of speaks to you. I have a lot of friends who, they're very successful with restaurant chains. I have friends who are very successful with, yogurt shops and gyms, and they love it. I have one of my good buddies who, I was just speaking to him the other day. I played football with him at University Pacific. He owns a cookie shop, and he probably has, I think he's going on his 20th location. They're all corporate stores, but he just loves baking cookies, and he loves, that's his passion, and he's wildly successful. And I would have never pegged him as being a cookie man, but he's the cookie extraordinaire. So that's just what makes him happy, and that's what he loves to do. And if you find your passion, you can scale it. You can build it and scale it.
Absolutely. All right, Tafa, those were all the specific questions that I had lined up. Is there anything else that you might want to add that maybe we didn't specifically cover?
No, I think, from my perspective, we've had corporate stores, and, we've done the franchising. We're actually up to 135 locations right now. And over the next year, we're looking to install another 35 to 40 locations in 2019. And
Wow.
I think, franchising is a fantastic a vehicle for those who are looking for an opportunity, especially anything in senior care is really exploding right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not red hot. It's not a red hot industry. It's white hot right now, as many say. Especially with a lot of the changes that are going on with Medicare and reimbursement, the private pay segment is a very attractive and lucrative segment to be involved in. So I would say that, for us, franchising has been very good to us, and it certainly is a vehicle for makes it very easy for someone to step into a turnkey solution versus starting from scratch. And so, that's some advice that I would give to some of the listeners is that you can start, you can certainly start, from scratch like I did, but, you could probably shave, 4 to 5, 6 years of figuring things out on your own and get a turnkey solution with like an Amada Senior Care, or it could be, a sandwich shop or another good or service. So I just am a big believer in franchising in general, and I think it's a fantastic way to build your existing business and actually provide opportunities for others that are out there looking for a career change as well.
All right, perfect. Tafa, again, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. It was my pleasure.